How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel, your Trims Car Good, and today we're back in the Greenville revamp with a different video. Today, we're going to be taking a look at my top 5 or 6 overrated cars in Greenville. Before we start, I just want to tell you guys, this is all completely opinionated. It's not meant to offend anybody, and obviously everybody has different opinions, so some people may think other cars are less overrated than I think. Obviously, that's completely fine. This is just my opinion. Just wanted to get that out before we get to the video. But with that said, let's now get to the video. So we're starting off strong here. This is our first car, the 2017 Bullhorn Prancer. Now, this is meant to resemble the 2017 Dodge Charger, and a lot of the time the most overrated trims I see in this game are the Hellcat and Red Eye, or whatever trims they're called. This is the TR392 Scatty, which still has the Hemi V8, I believe. And there's another trim which is higher than this, which is a little more expensive, that I probably see people drive more, but these two trims are pretty similar. It's really just a Hellcat trim, and overall I think this thing is just super overrated. So hopping into this thing, it has a pretty basic startup sound, and when you rev it, it does shoot flames. They are pretty big flames, but it's not really anything special. Obviously, it is rear-wheel drive, but it's really not anything special like people really try and make it seem like it is. It's really not anything special. Along with that, the lighting isn't really the most detailed either, which is, I'm really a fan of more detailed lighting compared to lighting like this, which is just kind of like decals that are stuck on there. But overall, it's really just not that great of a car like people say it is. All the time, if you're in public servers, if you're in roleplay servers, you're not playing Greenville if you don't see at least one of these. It is very overrated, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people can agree with this. The top speed may be 144 miles per hour, and it probably does have a pretty decent acceleration from 0. But honestly, it's just really not that great of a car, like people try to make it seem like it is. The next car is going on the same path as this thing. It's the 2018 Bullhorn Determinator, which is the 2018 Dodge Challenger. So we already had the Charger, now it's time for the Challenger. This is in the SFP Fury wide body trim. Again, I'm not really sure what trim I see most often. A lot of the time it's the Demon trim. But the wide body looks pretty good, but it's just quite a bit overrated, and I think I see it a little bit too much. Not really as much as the Chargers because they're less expensive, but honestly this thing looks better, and it's overall better than the Charger, though it's still overrated. At least when you rev this thing, it has a somewhat decent sound. You can hear that lovely supercharger, and the lighting isn't still the most detailed, but it's a little bit better than before, and obviously it is rear-wheel drive. Like I said, they're not the worst cars you can get in Greenville, but they're not really something worth spending your money on. 190 miles per hour is very good actually for this thing. Top speed wise, with an 8-speed transmission compared to the Charger. So I will say I like this thing a little bit more than the Charger, but both of them are still overrated in their own ways. Same horn, and it's honestly not the most detailed car either. I know this thing was first introduced in the original Greenville, or Greenville V3, not the revamp, but In the revamp, it didn't really change much except for adding a couple more trims. Other than that, it really did not change much, and that's really something sad to see, since it has such great potential. If you do go to the Greenville Discord server though, which I will link in the description for any of those who want it, an updated Hellcat like this thing is on the way along with the Charger, so that's something to look out for. Overall, I really just am not the greatest fan of this thing, and I think it's better than the Charger, but it's not the greatest. Let's see. Next up is this thing. Not the Audi. Is this thing. Oh, come on. This thing. The 2020 Sir Rogers Constellation, which is the 2020 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. There's nothing special about this thing. Maybe it's a $500,000 Rolls-Royce, but other than that, there's nothing special about this thing. When I see this thing, most of the time, a lot of people are driving this thing, and they're in a group, they're all friends, and they all want to drive this thing. And you can get the $1 million trim, but that's just a huge waste of money. 153 miles per hour for the top speed is better than the Charger. I will say that. But acceleration-wise, and I know this thing isn't built for speed, performance, or acceleration, it's meant for luxury. It's just not that great. And the four-wheel steering definitely messes you up quite a bit in the game, because it's when you go from driving a normal car to a car with four-wheel steering, while this four-wheel steering isn't that much, it still turns, as you can see. It may not turn very much, but it still gets annoying. Same deal with this thing. The lighting isn't the most realistic. It's better than the last two cars, but like the blinkers are just kind of like blobs, and the tail light and the reverse lights are kind of stuck on, and the front two headlights. It's just not a very good car, and I think people are more sucked into the fact that it's a Rolls-Royce over the fact that it's a bad car. Yeah, it's a Rolls-Royce. Yeah, it's $500,000. Yeah, it may be good for flexing. But what do you get out of that, except for wasting $500,000 on a car like this? Or $500,000 to $1 million, I should say. It's really not that great of a car. And if you're looking for a luxury SUV, don't go for this thing. Waste of money. And honestly, it doesn't even look that great. The next car, a lot of people are definitely going to be a little bit... it's definitely a controversial car, to say the least. The Tesla Model 3. Here's the deal. I'm not the biggest fan of Tesla, and I'm not the biggest fan of electric cars in general, but I think Tesla just sticks out to me. A lot of their cars look super basic. Honestly, if you go for the Model Y, it just looks like an egg, or a shoe, whatever you want to call it. They don't have very good styling, they don't have very good body lines, and they're all quite basic. While they may be fast, they're not that great of a car. And that really shows out for this thing. It doesn't look that good. And this is just the standard trim, this isn't the performance trim. But all the performance trim adds is a little bit more performance and a black spoiler in the back here. That's really about it. Obviously, if you're a car guy, it's extremely weird to be a car guy without sound through your car. I know a lot of people buy cars and they put exhausts on them, they put everything crazy on them to make them look good, to make them sound good. The Tesla, you really can't do that. And especially the exhaust, you can definitely put things on the car that make it look better, but all you hear is that little battery whine, which gets old after a while. 135 miles per hour is the top speed. And I know a lot of you Tesla fans in the comments are going to say, but the instant torque, it'll be anything off the line. Yeah, it might be anything off the line, but is it really gonna beat them in the long run. Like, look at this. 3, 2, 1, go. If you had something a little bit, if you had something you could rev all the way up and then go, it would destroy this thing off the line. Yeah, I mean, it's not really something worth buying for speed unless you're going for the performance trim, which is almost $60,000. And in Greenville, it says this is the standard refresh trim, but the lighting isn't even that great. The wheels, and I know this is Tesla's problem, but these wheels are ugly. I know they enhance your range or whatever, but why buy wheels to enhance your range when you can just go home and charge the car, or go to one of the many charging stations and charge it? It needs to be charged after a while anyway, so I don't really get it. I find this thing to be probably the most overrated Tesla since it's the cheapest. It's still about 40 grand, which I would hope most people have at least like 40 grand in Greenville. I know a lot of people, new players, don't, but that's kind of scary when I meet people who don't have over like 50 grand. I don't know, I've had over 1.5 million for a while now, but it's kind of weird when you meet people who don't have a lot of money and can't buy good cars. Plus, you need a Game Pass for this thing, and it's just not really that great. It only comes in a couple colors and everything. It's just not really that cool. And then finally on the list, another controversial car, but the 2019 Lamborghini RS. Here's the deal. People outside of Greenville definitely overhyped this thing. People like rappers or rich people out in the world definitely overhyped this thing. It was an amazing car at its launch, but now it's not really that great of a car, and it's more of an overrated car. A lot of people have it, and to be honest, this is my opinion, I would much rather have an Audi RS Q8. That's just my opinion. Hopping into this thing, it doesn't sound too bad, and it does shoot flames, which is good. It is all-wheel drive, which makes for good launches, and it has pretty detailed lighting, which is a big plus. I'm very happy they didn't ruin this thing by putting four-wheel steering on it, but a 202 mile per hour top speed is insane. That's ridiculous for an SUV like this. The horn is pretty basic, but that's a little bit of Greenville's fault because they don't put the nicest horns on cars. No offense, Greenville or Hunter, but the horns on your cars aren't really the best sounding or the most pleasing to your ears. And a lot of German cars have the same horn. But I will say it's a overrated car. A lot of people in Greenville too have it. A lot of people drive it. In real life, it's not really a car that you see all the time because a lot of people don't have that kind of money to buy a car like this. But when you do come across some, it's not really surprising anymore because so many people have it. And it's not really a great car. It's already dirty. But it's just not really a great car. I do like the fact that the lighting is detailed, but I would much rather have an Audi RS Q8 if it was added to the game. With that said though, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button. Please consider subscribing. Please keep in mind all of these were my opinion, and obviously you don't have to agree with my opinion. But yeah, go join the Discord server, Rams Car fan server. Link will be in the description and in the comments, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.